Hi, Pastor Charlie here from New Hope Lutheran Church, and we've got another edition of Pastor Charlie's Toolbox. So today I want to show you how to install a little outboard motor on the boat. It's that time of year. We got to get on with it. So basically, it's a simple process. The motor has hooks on it with clamps, and I'll pick it up and it just hangs on the back, and we go from there. So there are places to grab it, and you just hook it right on there. Make sure it's not hanging up on something else. And then the important thing you want to do is you want it to be centered on the boat. So I can tell from the marks left from other years where the exact center is. So shuffle it over a bit. And then what we want to do is we want to tighten up the clamps, because that's what holds it onto the boat. And I'm just going to get in the boat to finish that job. So we just turn these clockwise, get them spun around, and when they are tight, and I mean really tight, well, the motor's on the boat. The motor's on the boat. You just have to hook up your fuel line and get going, I guess. I do this on land because, well, it's kind of tough to do it on water. When you got the boat already in the water, it's hard to carry a motor and try to go through the water to hook it on your boat. I mean, if you're in too deep water, well, let's face it, you're going to sink. And that brings me to our lesson for today from Matthew 14, right here. It's a story about an evening, being out in a boat. Jesus had told the disciples to go on and go to the other side of the lake, and he'd catch up with them later. So they left. They were rowing, obviously. They didn't have one of these. And they came across waves and wind. The wind picked up. The Sea of Galilee got stormy, and it's a pretty good-sized lake. And the waves were big, and they weren't getting very far, and they were rowing almost all night. And just about the time daylight came, they were still rowing away and hadn't gotten all that far, and someone noticed what looked like Jesus walking on the water. Well, needless to say, they found this hard to believe, but Peter, who is always the bold one, some might say the crazy one, but Peter yelled at him to see if it was Jesus, and he said, "You know what? Can I come out there? Can I walk with you on the water?" Jesus said, "Sure." So Peter got up and he got out of the boat. And by golly, he was walking on the water. Can you believe it? But as he got a little farther from the boat, he noticed how big the waves were and how strong the wind was. And maybe he started to think to himself, you know what? I don't think humans normally do this. And he lost faith in what he could do, and he began to sink. Once he was out of the boat and got too far away, he began to sink. Well, he asked Jesus to help him, and Jesus obliged. You know, Jesus caught him, got him back in the boat with everyone else. And in the boat, they were safe. You know, it's a great story, a wonderful miracle. But me being me, I often wonder, what didn't they write into that story? I mean, what, for example, might the other disciples have been thinking, well, Peter was out there walking on the water. Were they pulling for him? Saying, go, Peter, go? Or were they kind of thinking, this just isn't going to work? Well, while we can never know for sure, I suspect they were silently encouraging him, hoping he'd be able to do it. Because maybe then they'd be able to do it too. But I think they would have been encouraging. And that's the thing about a congregation of people with faith in Jesus. They're always there to help you out, especially when life gets rough and stormy. It's like a group of people in a boat, and they're there to help you while you're helping them row. When you spend a lot of time together in the same boat, you wind up trusting and encouraging each other a lot. Now, I know it's summertime and a lot of us get away from our faith communities, at least for a little while, but I want you to remember from this story the importance of our faith communities, our congregations. I mean, currently we're all going through a storm of a pandemic, which means a lot of us haven't gathered together in person for months. And for those that are gathering together, there's a lot of changes to what worship in person is like. It's not the same at all. And that means that it's easy to feel that we don't need to be in the boat that is our faith community. But while I have little against taking leaps of faith, I think when we do, we want to make sure that Jesus is close by, because who's going to help us out if we get out of the boat, away from our community, and our faith starts to sink? So stay close to the boat that is your faith community. Support it in any way you can. Row with them through the stormy seas, and in that boat you will find safety, resources, and encouragement to keep your faith above water. Have a great summer.